Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. So, here we go. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you today? You're back at the spot, the place, the location where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today we are with Dr. Juju Love. I like Juju. You know, that's good energy. And you have to position that in the right place. She is working very diligently with individuals to develop their intuition. We don't know how to navigate that. That is a whole subset of the subconscious that can be developed, that can ascend us to the next level. And how do we do that? We do that with love. Now, if you have not been following her on social media, you're missing a treat, because we posted this, and I mean, she got like 75 congratulations and comments, and they're so excited for her. So she is really dispelling some really good energy. In addition to that, she's the author of 2 books, and she has a festival that we're going to talk about. So all that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome Dr. Juju Love to On the Edge. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. And I heard a lot about you, and I feel just so honored to be here and actually spend some time with you.
Well,
So,
that's good.
thank you.
That's good. Now, is that stone
Is it
actually?
glowing?
It is glowing. It is
This actually
absolutely
saved
glowing.
my life one
Really?
time. Yeah, this I got it when I was in Peru. I spent some time in Peru doing spiritual, stuff with shamans. And this one particular day, it was in Amazon jungles.
Mm.
And one particular day, they had this like some vendors came to set up just outside of our hangout area, kitchen area, cafeteria area, and I wasn't really paying attention to these people before, but this particular day, I just like went out because he's got something for me,
Mm.
and this was just like me, so I picked it. This is not glowing, but it always looks like it's glowing.
It is glowing. It's radiating something from you. Is it a
And
moonstone?
yeah, it is a moonstone. So I
Mm-hmm.
had a car accident one time and I got hit real hard here. And this actually protected. I got like just a hairline fracture on my sternum, but without it, I could have had much bigger impact.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah,
absolutely
she,
wonderful.
she called me, so she definitely saved my heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell my brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
So, do you want a little bit like how I got here in a way, how I ended
Yeah.
up showing up this way? So, I just turned 60 last in November.
No, come on.
Yes, and I love it. So, my journey started in my mid 30s. I was living in the New York City area, working in a corporate job, just being like everybody else, just doing sort of like chasing after American dreams kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And living or working in the city, was married, looking like happily married, great job, everything going for you. Um, but I wasn't happy. Something was like amiss and I couldn't really put a finger on it. And one day I literally had this sort of I don't even know how it happened because I was not spiritual at all. I never done yoga, I've never done meditation, nothing. But I was in this trance like state. I was experiencing another experience. I would call it like a trance or shamanic journey. And I actually found myself as an old lady at my own deathbed, just
Wow.
dying. And in that moment, I realized that I was busy living, like entire life, I kept myself busy with busyness, just checking off, doing what everybody else expected me to do, just following what everybody set out, the pathways that everybody's following. And I never got to live. So that was just really devastating knowledge that I never knew about me, actually. I thought I was just doing well with my life up until then.
Mm.
So that literally put me in like when I came out of it, I realized that I never really lived and I'm not living. If I keep going this way, that's the trajectory of my life. I'll be an old lady dying with this regrets. So that put me on a journey. Initially, I was depressed because I felt like life was just totally meaningless. But
Mm.
then that same spirit who gave me that vision experience also gave me this thought. And I'll call that a seed of intuition.
Mm.
Asked me to be wondering about the universe and look at the universe, look at the nature, look around you and see how everything has its purpose place.
Mm.
Everything works perfectly. Then I must have also my own place and reason for my existence. So I started to look for that. I wanted to know, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? The age-old questions, they all just fit so perfectly in that moment. So I started to go look for it. And in that journey, I was looking for it outside, right? My journey was outside looking for answers. But when one thing led to another, I started meditating. Not that I knew how, but I was feeling the need to. That's
Right.
another intuitive guidance. Like, I don't know how, but I'm just going to follow my whatever that's pulling me to do. So I sat and meditated every single day. And one thing led to another. Some years later, it didn't happen overnight.
Mhm.
Some years later, I just happened to have this. Actually, I was hosting a healing workshop in my own place in New York City, in the village.
Mhm.
So I was the only person who wasn't a healer. Everybody was a healer.
Mm. Okay.
But I was having my own another shamanic experience, and I felt like a crazy, crazy person because I felt like I'm moving and things happening. I
Hmm.
couldn't really stop. I could have, I guess, I could have stopped, but it felt natural, felt okay to just let it be. And I felt like I was in a safe place because I was in this circle of healers
Hmm. Hmm.
that I felt like they're not going to judge me for acting weird.
Right.
If I knew what I know now, I might have been a second guess that decision.
Well, or maybe you would have just really lent into it because when spirit takes over, you don't have any control over it. It is an
Exactly.
out of body experience.
It was like that.
You leave the meat suit.
Yeah, it was actually in and out at the same time. So I'm here learning this healing modality, but I was having my own shamanic journey. And during that time, I actually received energy transfer. I call it, I got the day when I got hit by spiritual 2x4 because it happened through the
Mm.
top of my crown and energy just shot through my body. And that was really the pivotal time of my complete change in my life because after that, something just like activated. I was no longer the same person anymore. I could perceive, I could see, hear, well, not exactly see like I'm seeing you, but I could
Oh, clairvoyancy. My brains get
perceive.
it. You can speak in that language. My brains get it. They know. They know all about it.
It's it's not like that, but I don't know how to explain it. But I wouldn't say I'm clairvoyant like those people who are like that. But when I get my hits, sometimes it's like a visual, sometimes I get it in all different senses.
Mhm.
But I would say most,
It's
hmm?
like it's when I'm into transcendental meditation, I see colors.
Yeah,
I see
colors also.
colors like brainwave frequencies. And I know at that point that there are certain chakras that I am connecting with.
Absolutely.
And when I got my first spiritual awakening, but mine was different because mine was in a church. Mine was
Mm-hmm.
in a religious setting. So we're there, and I walk up to the pulpit, and I go for prayer, and the pastor lays hands on me. And when he lays hands on me, I felt my whole body was on fire.
I
Not,
felt it. I'm
not
still feeling that. I'm feeling that.
it was not a burning, but it was an igniting of just opening up every vessel, every pore, every orifice of my body. And I passed coal out.
I love that.
And when I woke up, I started speaking, as most people, consider speaking in tongues or love language.
I do that too.
And it's amazing. Now, see, I don't have the gift of necessarily interpreting. So if you spoke it, I couldn't understand what you're saying, because I think that that is a conversation between you and the divine.
Exactly. I say those languages, so I didn't know what it was called. I just called it frequency
Mm-hmm,
language,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
frequency art. I just channel in pure vibration. So I do it in sound, I do it in movement, I do it in actual artwork. But my artwork doesn't look like recognizable thing. It looks like an orb. There's a lot of lines, and I call this pure frequency.
Do you have
So,
any of it there?
let's see. I don't know. I have some. Oh yeah, I have some here. I have some big ones too, but not here. Let's see.
Hmm. Wow. So now, do you do that with ink, or
Yeah,
or does your
ink.
body okay, does your body translate and transmit the messages just as it moves by itself? Oh, wow.
So a lot of times they have like, I get the overall theme, or sometimes I don't know what it is. It just feels good, feels right. Um, yeah, so these are just literally frequency arts.
Hmm. That's
And
interesting.
yeah, a lot of times they're like core, they have core, you know,
Okay. Yeah,
or
it does look like a frequency. So what do you think is happening when you create this art? Are you channeling messages? Are you releasing energy? Are you connecting with source? Are you healing, or all of the above?
all of the above, because I could intentionally focus on specific energy that I want to channel, or if I'm tuning in with someone, I would tune in with whatever the energy I that we need to work, however it is, whatever it is being guided.
Hmm.
Or I just feel like sit down and do it because that's something maybe I need to pull through me, for my own healing, perhaps. So it's all of the above.
Okay.
And people do feel it. I said it's not art just to look at it. It is something that you are supposed to experience it. And the artwork is not just, even though it looks like it's just 2D on piece of paper, but there's sound. I make sound into it.
Hmm.
And it's also beyond the paper.
Hmm.
So that's the intention of so just because, so
So
it's an experience.
let me dial back and get to know you just a little bit better. What is your country of origin? What is your birth nationality?
I was born in Seoul, Korea.
Okay. And so Korea. And so there is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm, just going by my life experience and what I know about my Korean friends, is that women there are a little bit more subdued
Oh, I would say
as a
so.
as a culture. What I'm
Yeah.
saying, they're not as boisterous. So it's I can see how that might have transferred into your formative years of just kind of going along to get along and everything's okay. So you get married. And did this experience and revelation happen to you before you got married, after, or during?
During the marriage,
Okay.
towards the end of marriage. Well, actually, the beginning of the journey, like when I had that the vision of my own, like experience of my own death,
Hmm.
I was still married. By the time I had like spiritual awakening, I was already out of the marriage.
Okay. So, do you think that that had an impact on your relationship? Because we all don't progress or change or ascend at the same time. I've been married 40 years. Okay.
That's
And sometimes, yes. And sometimes I look at him and I have an aha moment
mm,
as well with me. We have our own, I tell people all the time, soul contract that we
absolutely.
signed up for, that we have to journey with. Do you think that that had an impact? Do you think that not so much causing a division in the marriage, but did you see that there was two different paths that you might have been taking and one didn't understand the other?
I would say that would have been later, but we were already going separate ways because our sort of like our vision of marriage changed.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew about having children. Like that was never something I never thought about. And I thought once I get married, just like everybody, all the other women, maybe I will start to feel like my biological clock is ticking or whatever. It never came. It never happened.
Mm-hmm.
But he really wanted to have children. So there's no halfway of being a parent or not being a parent. So,
And you know what? I commend you for knowing where your moral compass was, because doing something like that, and if that is not your intention or if that is not your direction, there's nothing wrong with that.
oh yeah,
But what the challenge is doing it and, resenting not so much the child, but the situation or the sacrifice. That's not what you signed up for. And that's
yeah.
absolutely fine. So now, what did your friends and your family think when they saw you make this internal transition?
My family never understood. Still
Mm-hmm.
don't. My parents passed away now, but initially they didn't know it was so new. Korean people didn't know much about it, so they were kind of like interested, but then years passed and then healing and those things started to become also more known phenomenon in Korea, and them being Christians, very devout Christians,
Mm-hmm.
and they felt like I'm doing some kind of scary devil
Some
stuff.
bad juju, right?
But Juju,
You're doing bad juju.
my real name is Youngju Lee. And Juju Love is something I just took on myself.
So, are you a student of Elizabeth Ocean?
Yes, I am. I just signed on with her since October, November, I forget.
Tell me what that experience is like and what are you learning?
I've done so many coaching programs before. I literally spent so much money that you could literally buy a nice house with it.
Mm.
For real. And I don't regret any of it. I don't regret anything in my life. And I love every relationship I had. Relationships, right? Relationships I had, and I love all the guys, men I've been with because it didn't work out for whatever reasons, but if I think of them, I only remember things that make me smile.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Elizabeth Ocean, I really, really adore her because to me, she's a really great mentor.
I have been through a couple different religious experiences, but I am not pigeonholed to the doctrine of the book because I am very spiritual. Now, who I am really fascinated with is Joe Dispenza.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And I like to go because I'm into the quantum physics. That's what as we were talking in the green room. We are in a different state of the world now.
Absolutely.
This is we're going through a portal of evolutionary change.
Yeah,
And I ask the universe and God to bring me only the highest and greatest good and help me match that frequency of those individuals that come into my space. And
absolutely.
some of them are so embedded in that religious text that has been centuries old, okay, that they can't see the forest for the trees, that know
Mm-hmm.
that we have to ascend to another level. I'm not knocking
Exactly.
what anybody does. If it works for you, if you like it, I love it. Okay. But for me, like for you, I seek something different. I'm called, I resonate with a different vibe, with a different sound, with a different energy. I'm just at that point.
I'm
And
with you.
and it's okay. So tell us a little bit
Absolutely.
about your festival. You do a
Oh,
festival. Tell us a little bit about that.
so festival, this is this whole thing, the intuitive, following your intuition just is so perfect. It's how it guides you through your life in such a miraculous and fun way, in a way. So last September, I just moved here. I'm in South Carolina, and my friend, I don't know whether she called me or text me or something about asking me whether I would like to speak at this festival. And the date was like coming up real soon. So my first thought was, immediate thought was like, oh, it's too soon. I'm not going to be ready. But I caught that thought and I'm like, if I think like that all the time, I'll never get ready to do anything. So I just pivoted and I said, yeah, I'll do it. So once I said yes, it was Elizabeth Ocean's festival.
Mm.
Women's Spirits Festival. And I spoke, I got myself ready, I got two talks, I spoke. It was so much fun. And then I fell in love with this whole festival thing, and she was teaching how to do that yourself. So I'm like, me, I signed up and I did that. And that's why I'm doing this festival. And it just felt so right because I always wanted to have something like it's going to evolve and it's going to lead me to other things too. But right now, as I'm speaking, I was experiencing that joy of sharing my gift, my stories, and that could actually help other women, and just giving some kind of stage platform space for container for other women to come and connect and inspire, uplift, transform, and heal. Just why not? It just makes me
Absolutely.
so happy. It just really ignite, it just makes my heart sing. So this is my second one, and I'm just really so thrilled to have my second one, and it's
Let me ask you to define in your philosophy, in your way, transformation. That's a big $25 word. And I challenge people on that all the time because we have different life experiences, we have different goals, we have different aspirations, we have different dreams, we have different challenges, we have different struggles, we have different nationalities, dietary restrictions, all of these things. So when you say transform, tell me what that means to you and what people can look forward to when they work with you.
right. Transform is, I would say, one step. Um, well, I don't know whether I should call it high or whatever, but it's sort of like a beyond just the change.
Mhm.
We could change, but the change sometimes doesn't stick. Transformation is like you can go back. It's like butterfly from chrysalis coming out into this new form of butterfly. That's a true transformation. Butterfly cannot go back into chrysalis.
Mhm.
So that transformation is irreversible change that brings you out. It's phoenix rising. It's like you are here and then now you are emerging as something sort of different, but that is true you. Not that the other one was not you either, but it's like a next level of evolution.
Right. You're
Moving.
ascending, you're ascending in a different direction. And like you say, it may not necessarily be higher. It might be lateral. You
Yeah,
know, you
yeah,
might have to shift from one side to the other. Sometimes brains, that transformation may set you back.
absolutely. Because
And you
it's
have to be, yeah, exactly. And you have to be able to receive that. So what do you say to the person that has went through this evolution and this transformation, but when they greet this new evolved person on the other side, because that is an adjustment as well. I mean, I don't think that you woke up out of this, dreamlike state of seeing yourself as an old woman. And now you look in the mirror and you go, that's not who I am. This is who I want to be. But you have to settle into, you know, those brand new stilettos, right?
I okay, so sometimes people believe that um it is just I just want to there's no sugarcoating in transformation. It requires work.
Right.
So you have to be willing to uh, do what it requires for you to do. You need to show up, you got to do stuff, and you have to be consistent because otherwise the transformation may not actually happen because you'll be just going back and forth and you may not actually go over that threshold. And and so when you actually get to it's kind of like when you become a butterfly, there's an adjustment time. Even if you broke out of the chrysalis, there's that they exert so much energy to open their wings. That's a lot of work.
Mhm.
And using that energy is going to give them that power to be able to fly for the rest of their lives. And they say if you actually help them to do that, if you like trying to help them come out of the chrysalis and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
they are not going to be able to make it because
Mm.
they don't gain that power. So I would say there's an adjustment time and there's nothing wrong with feeling like it's difficult, but it all depends on how we reframe, how we actually perceive it, and how we uh, align with it. So it could, if you feel like it's just such a hard work, then you're kind of forgetting the point of why you're doing this.
Right.
So if we are really clear on why we're doing this in the first place, then that hard work is going to feel like joy because you're getting towards that place where you want to go, and it's going to feel effortless. Not that it's easy, but it feels good in your heart.
Mm.
So to me, that's effortlessness. It's
That's
not just because it's just so, it just happens.
right.
It
And
happens like that too.
but you want to be clear in setting your intention. And that
Yes,
intention can waver. So
absolutely.
that's what cracks me up is people say, "Oh, well, you didn't do this before. You didn't think that before. Don't I have a right to change my mind?" When you get new information, you're going to change your mind.
Absolutely.
You might have wanted a Volkswagen and you went and bought a Mercedes. You might want to have some rice and end up having potatoes. You might want to sit there and just be the status quo and go through life as it is, or you may want to ascend.
Absolutely.
So
There's
it's a choice.
and there's really nothing wrong. Everything is perfect in divine, in God's eyes, in spirits. Our soul they don't judge.
Right.
It's all good. But we could choose depending on what we want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely we could change because, I believe that, like you said, highest good. If we want something for the highest good of all, and for me as well, we may think that way because we are wired, we know only so much based on what we know. in our minds from our experiences and what we learned. But now we're open to asking for divine to guide me with whatever I need the most, best, highest good of all. And for me, then it may actually show up in a very different ways than what
Very
we
different way.
expected.
Very different
So,
way. And we play small.
yeah,
We play small. The things that we could uh, capture in our mind and goes on in the universe and on the planet. My mother goes, the things that I could teach you, I could create a whole new world based upon her experience. But when you open yourself up to universal alliances, you are connected to a realm of energy that is infinite.
infinite.
And we don't understand what that is, again, because, human beings, we play small because number one, we've been put in this container. We came through a portal that was a tight container,
I consider.
you know, and then we're here and we are manipulated, controlled by our outside influences, by other people, by our own limiting beliefs, by that
Mm.
negative self talk. So when you are like an egg and you're ready to crack that shell and open up and see that beautiful golden yolk, I mean, you can poach that sucker, you can scramble it, you can fry it. You have options, you have choices. And I give you
Absolutely.
these analogies, brains, because I want to break it down to the simplest form. I don't want you to think that we're talking something hoo-hoo or something that you can't grasp. It's very easy, it's very simple, and it is so enlightening. And it does not have to go in contradiction to what you believe as far as your religious doctrine or text. It can
Abs-
go completely parallel in alignment. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I personally love all religion. I like everybody who's practicing their religion, and if it's making them a better person, better members of the society, adding value to, like
Mhm.
if it serves you well, it's great. Uh, but just because you're doing this doesn't mean that now it's, you have to try to convert everybody else into
Right,
what you
right,
believe.
right.
Let
Because that
them
could
give
not be
them that.
everybody's jam. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not everybody's. They don't like certain things, and that's okay. Or they don't feel comfortable with it, or they're afraid of it. But the thing is, it's like, you know, sushi. If you never tried it, you don't know if you'll like it. You eat raw tuna fish sandwiches, so try it and see if you like it. Again, it's about the experience. It is really
absolutely.
about having the experience. If it is not for you, you don't have to do it again. But step out on faith and see what you'll find. You're also the author of two great books, and you're going to share one of them with us and also an excerpt. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I participated in two collaboration books. The first one was called Healers, and second one was I have it. It's holistic. So first one was all about I shared, what did I share? It was all about just focusing on love that we are, and that because that's what I believe love is inherent within us, that we are love. We come from God, that's all love. And when we tune into that, we could create miracles. We are the miracles and all the healing, and it's just inherently within us, and we are the miracle. But I don't have that book to read the excerpt for you. And Holistic is actually second book that I participated in, and this one actually talks a little bit. I call it "Let Your Superpower Flow," and this is more like a little bit of my personal awakening, spiritual awakening journey, plus sort of speaking to empaths, highly sensitive people.
Mm-hmm.
And this part I really like. Let the healing begin. You're not broken. You're not crazy. You're exactly who you are meant to be, a super sensitive being. it is your superpower. As you cultivate it and learn how to navigate it better, you will see that it's your divine gift and blessing, not something you need to fix or avoid.
Well, I am empathic, but I am not an empath because I can turn it off, baby, like a light switch. But when you are a highly sensitive person, that message would really connect with them on so many levels because they're taking on a lot of people's energy. Sometimes they don't know how to navigate that and they can't separate theirs from someone else's. That can lead to depression, that can lead to misunderstandings, that can lead to you thinking that you are less than, or you can be the ultimate uh, people pleaser. So it can be confusing. But when you work with someone like Dr. Juju Love that can help you navigate that, help you transform those messages into a frequency of energy and love, you can't do anything but feel comfortable in your own skin. And then you have to take that information and decide, okay, what am I going to do with it? Am I comfortable where I am, or do I want to continue to soar? What would you
Absolutely.
say to the person right now that is struggling with, you know, being an empath or unsure of themselves, wanting to make this journey of transformation, but there's a fear? What would you say to them?
I would say first, we need a lot of grace within ourselves. There's a lot of judgment, and we feel like we have to be a certain way or we have to be a certain place already. I would say because to be able to navigate this empathic empath's journey or highly sensitive people journey, it's really learning to need a lot more like tuning inward to be able to differentiate the what's coming from the outside and what is within me. So just need more patience and kind of just sort of like listening to what you're feeling. So one of the easiest way to uh, get used to what is me and what is not me is like if you're all of a sudden out of blue, you just pass through something or somebody walks in or and then your emotion changes like very drastically, then you know you're catching yourself in the moment of taking on like absorbing somebody else's energy. So just becoming aware of that um, quick quick emotional change.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that's probably one of the first places to become aware of that you are actually taking on somebody else's emotions. You're all of a sudden out of blue, you're fine, and then you feel all
How am I going to deal with this situation?
right.
And like you said, allow yourself grace. So let's ask you some fun questions because I like to do that. If you were an animal, Dr. Juju Love, what animal would you be and why?
I see a big cat,
A big cat?
wildcat. Yeah,
Okay.
big wildcat like jaguar.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
the one that could climb the tree
Okay. All right. Climb the tree. If you were a
and
car,
that moves like stealth.
right. Very slick. I get you.
Mhm.
If you were a car, what kind of car would you be? A Jaguar?
I don't have like I like uh what do you call it? What do you call the convertibles?
Okay.
Just like having no top.
No top. All right.
Be
What is
able to see like, no what do you call it? No, what do you call that? Blind spots. Yeah,
blind?
I just like having that full 360 view.
All right. I like that. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Um, what is one of your guilty pleasures? Do you like to, what do you like to do for yourself that's just way out and fun?
Way out and fun. I don't know why would they call it guilty pleasures? They're like contradictory.
Right. Right.
Um, I would say If I actually use the word guilt, then maybe watching Netflix. Uh,
It's not guilty. I love it. Binge watching, that's good. Do you do it with ice cream? Popcorn?
oh no, I don't do dairy. I'm actually like a very pretty clean eater.
Okay.
So I don't do desserts. I do make popcorn myself actually.
Mm,
I do old fashioned. I mean, it's so easy. You just put popcorn kernels in a pot. I don't even use air popper because
yeah,
there's some kind of fun in that actually doing it the old way.
it is.
So I do that every so often. That's kind of maybe that is guilty pleasure because I get to eat popcorn and I get to enjoy actual process of making popcorn in a pot.
If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Ah, I'll be the water filter.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. I've never had anyone to be the water filter. Why would you want to be the water filter?
Because water is so essential, and I want people to have pure, clean water to drink.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'd be the refrigerator. I just want to sit. I just want
Why?
to sit somewhere and chill. Make it easy for myself. If you had an opportunity to have a conversation with a 25-year-old Juju Love, what would you say to her?
25-year-old?
Hmm.
Any topic?
Yeah, what would you say to yourself at 25?
Oh, you mean when I was 25?
Right. If you were
You mean
25 and
having
you had an
myself
opportunity
25?
to have that conversation with yourself, what would you say to yourself?
Don't worry about it, just live your life.
Hmm, yeah. Don't
Yeah.
overthink it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't overthink, don't worry about what other people think, basically. Just
And
live
in
your life.
closing, Dr. Love, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
My legacy is I want the one who sparkled through her life.
Hmm.
That's what I want. That not because everything was easy, but I made it seem almost easy because I was enjoying every process. Not that I'm doing that. I mean, I still like, you know, go through sometimes disgrudgingly and stuff, but I want to be able to be in that place of enjoying everything that happens in life, knowing that this is happening for me, really, and it's all to be enjoyed in the moment, and allow that to help me unravel my true self even more and sparkle through life
That's
and
beautiful.
live like really fully. So I read this somewhere, somebody about it's not it's not your goal to get to the grave all well preserved. You want to be all spent and nothing more to
Hmm.
give. So you give all your gifts before you die.
That's beautiful.
I
So
love
when I look at someone, uh, more people are getting cremated now, but when you look at someone, you can actually see the trajectory of their life and what they've been through by how that's really neat. That's a great way to think of that. So please share with my brains any current offerings, a little bit more about the festival, how they can get involved, and how they can purchase a copy of the book and connect with you.
um I wouldn't say a copy of the book. I guess you could find it on Amazon. You could look for Healer or what is it called? The Holistic. You could buy copies in Amazon, the actual books. But I do have an ebook version of my first one. It's revised, and I call it The Miracle Within. And you could go to
Can you
Dr. Juju
send us
Love.
this? Can you? I'm sorry.
I
Can
could
you
give
send
you
us
a
the
link.
link? Yeah, if you
Yeah,
send
there's
us
a
the
link.
link, then we'll definitely post that. That might be easier because folks are busy listening. They don't.
I'll send you a link. And so this one is a little, it's very short, and to me, it's funny, funny too in a way. It just talks about how miraculous you are.
Mm,
And the beginning part is kind of funny. It's something people don't usually talk about. So yeah, I would love people to read it. It has at the end there's journal prompts and things that so it's not just reading, but kind of practical part to it too. So it could be a really good tool.
Okay.
And for the festival, you look in Facebook, you go look for Radiant Goddess Sanctuary. It's a Facebook group, Radiant Goddess Sanctuary, and then there's more to it, but that's basically it. And that's where the festival happens. So if you want to come and watch all the talks, it'll be free for the members. It's a free group. It's private, but it's a free group. So you could join. You could watch all the festival, the talks. And I do this festival 4 times. It's a quarterly event. I'm doing one just about to start this Saturday, and it's going to be from January 11th through 23rd. And we accept speakers all throughout the festival. So it's not like, oh, it started, I missed the boat. If you want to speak, you could sign up anytime in between that time. Or you could reach me and be on the list, wait list for the next one, because it'll be April, July, and October.
Now, is there a theme associated with the festival? I mean, that you can
Um,
come and randomly talk about.
it's pretty random, but it has to be, you don't want to go, as long as it's meaningful and it's going to help somebody.
What's
But
relevant?
for January, I would love to have people who are going to focus on the beginning, the goals, visions, and passion, stuff like that, that goes with the beginning of the year, beginning of a chapter kind of thing, because it's January. But at the same time, anything mindful, spiritual, healing, or empowerment, anything uplifting, they're all good. Self-love, and even talking about physical things, definitely. Menopause stuff, perimenopause stuff. It's a lot of midlife women in the group. So it's, anything that's kind of really dealing with going through transitions, right? And anything that apply, I would say if you're going through transitions, whole life is transition. So it applies. And then in April, it'll be more like the physical body part. We'll do maybe cleansing, the physical health, and because it's the element of earth we're going to focus on.
Okay.
Right now, January, we're actually focusing on the element of air, east,
Mhm.
and then come July, we'll be focusing on south and the element of fire. So it'll be more action, go, doing stuff. And then come October, will be west and it'll be more healing, internal things. And that's west. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are some themes, there are like themes, but at the same time, it's open for all mind, body, spirit awakening. That's what I call it.
Well, brains, it's time to awaken your spirit and consider transformation. However, that looks for you, you know, it doesn't have to be a big monumental change. It could be incremental, one foot in front of the other. That's very important. And I'm so glad that you're stepping with us here on the edge. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Love. You
Thank you so
really brought
much.
us some good juju. Brains, I need you to go in and love, like, share, and become a subscriber. We are now going to be on Spreaker, a part of the Apple family. I'm so excited about that. You will be able to go and rewind this interview. Find us on YouTube, find us on LinkedIn, find us on Facebook. Anywhere that you get your podcast is where we're going to be. Thank you so much, Dr. Love. I appreciate you and value you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much joy to be here.
All right. Bye, brains. Take care of yourself. We're counting on you.